Like what you're hearing? Follow us on social media. We are on Facebook at facebook.com/Wrestling Epicenter, or just search Wrestling Epicenter in the search box on Facebook. On Twitter at WEpicenter. On YouTube at IWR Interactive. And of course, check us out at WrestlingEpicenter.com, your hub and home of all things professional wrestling interviews. We're the originals, and we love what we do.
We will get to formal introductions and more talking later. Right now, though, got to kick it off quick. We have Jeff Gorman, ladies and gentlemen, on a big blockbuster show tonight. James, would you like to formally introduce Mr. Gorman? Mr. Gorman, are you there?
I'm right here.
All right, he's here.
Mr. Gorman, it's good to have you on the program.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for kicking off my media blitz for this book, This Side of the Mic, about my time as a pro wrestling announcer.
Yes, indeed. And I was actually reading up on the book. Unfortunately, I haven't gotten a copy yet. But I was reading up on it, and a couple of the previews, especially one for the audio download that you can get online, which I'm not sure if is authorized or not, talks about how it was an unlikely story of you getting involved in the wrestling business. Care to elaborate on that?
That's right, because growing up, I expected to be a sportscaster, hoping to be for the Cleveland Indians or the Cavaliers one day. And I didn't really even discover pro wrestling until I was about 15 years old. And even then, I never really thought I would be a wrestling announcer. But as I was trying to get into the quote-unquote mainstream sports, I kind of got into this, and I really found so much more success in wrestling than I ever did in any of the other sports.
So I take it you were not a fan growing up, but you kind of fell into it, and did you develop a love for the business?
Oh, totally. It's weird. I never really disliked wrestling. I just never saw it. I was watching, I must have been watching the Smurfs or Bugs Bunny and the Roadrunner and stuff. I just never really discovered it on my local TV. But yeah, I would go to the shows at the Richfield Coliseum, and then when I went to college at Northwestern in Chicago, that was great because I got to go to WWF and WCW like every month. I mean, they're all over the place. And I would sit up there on the top with my little tape recorder, and I do play-by-play. But even still, I never thought I would actually do it because I didn't really know how you even got into the pro wrestling business.
Now, when you were just getting into the business and you told your family that you wanted to announce for wrestling, how did they react?
Well, they didn't really take it too badly. I mean, they knew that I loved wrestling. In fact, my dad took me to my first show. It was Hogan against Savage at the Richfield Coliseum.
Yes.
And that's kind of when I made the switch. Yeah, I think so. I made the switch from being a Hulkamaniac to being a Macho Madness. And it was okay to cheer for the bad guys, I discovered.
It is.
And so that was kind of liberating.
Just ask John Cena's opponents.
Ouch.
So I'm sure it wasn't a big surprise that when they discovered I'd be getting into wrestling, because they knew I really loved it. I would get all the magazines and everything, and I would play one of those dice wrestling games with my brother and sister, and I would ring announce all the matches and stuff. And so I was kind of preparing for this before I even got into it, and it just sort of happened. I sent a tape. Actually, I gave a tape to the promoter at the first indie wrestling show I ever attended, and I kind of got into it, and I've been doing this ever since 1994. It's been a lot of fun, and I've had a lot of fun stories that I didn't want to forget, and I wanted to write them down for my wife and daughter, and that's where this book came from, This Side of the Mic.
Yeah, you wrote it down, and of course the book got picked up, and it seems like it's going to be distributed pretty well because it's on Amazon.com, of all places. So that means that you're going to get some buys with this thing. The only thing that I have to ask you is, and this is not to be offensive, given the fact that you're not a former WWE or WCW guy, do you think that maybe the fans of mainstream wrestling will know exactly who you are?
Actually, no. That's why I'm kind of getting out on shows like this. But, the thing I've learned about wrestling fans and being one myself is they'll buy anything about wrestling. Big shows, little shows, all the dolls, all the magazines, everything. And, I'm a lot of fans like myself like to read books about wrestling, and a lot of people have come out with one. So if you've read them all, and I can read this one. And it's a different perspective because it's from an announcer, and it's really exploring the minor leagues of wrestling, which people don't really get to hear much about.
Absolutely. And I got to tell you a little story about when I was growing up. I've been a wrestling fan since literally I was 3 years old. I was a toddler that was flipping around. I had a little spin dial on my TV, and I caught an episode of Saturday Night's Main Event, and I was hooked. And
that's where I got started, too, watching Saturday Night's Main Event. That made a fan out of me, too.
Absolutely.
In like 85.
So I think it was like my junior year in high school, and I was talking to some guidance counselors about what I wanted to do with my life, and I said, I want to be a wrestling announcer. And everybody looked at me like I had 6 heads. So
Well, because people, whenever I tell people that I do this, sometimes they'll ask, oh, is it fake? Those are the 2 biggest questions. Oh, is it fake? And I kind of have to say, not really. They really do get beat up. And the other thing is, what are the wrestlers like? Are they mean? And it's like, no, they're really not mean. In fact, they're almost all, pretty darn nice guys, and especially they're not like their wrestling personas in the ring at all. But the people that I tell that, they kind of, they think it's a little off the wall, but also they're kind of like, wow, that's really cool. That's kind of one of the coolest things that I've heard in a long time. Because, it's really not a mundane existence.
Excellent.
It's really something different, a lot of fun.
Well, you did work for one company that I would say is mainstream, if only on the internet, and that's Ring of Honor. How did you enjoy your time with Ring of Honor? I
loved it a lot. In fact, I'll always remember, the moment that I got into Ring of Honor, almost like the moment that I learned I got accepted to college, because I was doing this in the Pittsburgh and Ohio areas for about 8 years, and I was like, am I ever going to get anywhere further than this? And then once I got the call from Ring of Honor, it was really like kind of making it to the All-Star team, because when you look at the guys that they've had on their roster, from the beginning up until now, it's really kind of the best people they could find from the East Coast and the Midwest, and they're bringing guys from the West. So just to get in there, I mean, it really validated all that work, because it made me feel like somebody must think that I'm good. Because seriously, it's kind of like making the All-Star team. And that's really the way it is right now. If you look at all the different smaller feds around the country, maybe 1 or 2 of the top people will get into Ring of Honor.
Right. And a lot of the problems I notice, I get a lot of tapes. I'm a big tape trader. WWE, don't sue me. But I do a lot of the tape trades, and some of the stuff I got was like NWA Wildside. And years back, they had a guy that did pretty much an impression of Joey Styles. And I noticed that a lot of the smaller companies out there tend to have announcers that are either not very good or trying to do an imitation of somebody else. Did you try to create your own niche or your own style?
Yeah, my style has always been to announce wrestling like it was a total, completely straightforward sport, just like a baseball game. And so I try to bring as much credibility to it as I can. And that's good because, if I have a color commentator who's kind of out there, like I was working with Mark Madden in Steel City Wrestling in Pittsburgh, that was great because he was so out there, and I was able to play off my personality. I was able to feed him straight lines. So it's funny you should bring up Joey Styles, because my problem wasn't sounding like him. My problem was looking like him. And if you look at IWCWrestling.com, the cover of my book is up there right now. And people would, especially when ECW was real big in the 90s, and Pittsburgh was a very big town for ECW.
Right.
I would always get ragged on for looking like Joey Styles. They would chant Joey at me or try to get me to say, oh, my God. Or the worst thing was when they chanted, you're not Joey at me.
Oh.
That was kind of hard. But finally, after, ECW kind of faded away, and after I'd been there for a while, they kind of, treated me with a little more respect, which was nice.
What made you stop working with Ring of Honor, out of interest?
Well, pretty much it wasn't really leaving Ring of Honor. It was kind of leaving the entire business, because I got to the point in late 2004 where all the and it's not like I'm a wrestler and traveling all the time, but going to do these shows every 2 or 3 weeks, they were never anywhere near my house. I mean, they was always either going to Pittsburgh or Southern Ohio or Chicago, and every show meant like a big, long trip, and I would either have to leave my family alone or I would have to drag them with me. I have my girl was like 1-year-old at the time, and it was really tough because, I have to take care of her. And so it got to the point where I had to pretty much do the right thing and step away from it for a while. I didn't use the word retirement because, that's pretty meaningless in pro wrestling. I knew I'd hopefully be back, someday in some kind of capacity. Right.
He's retired about 87 times now.
Yeah, I think so. But, they really, my wife, Jennifer, and my daughter, Grace, and they really supported me all the way through. And I kind of had to show some support for them by stopping to do it for a while. Although I did, a couple weeks ago, get to announce for IWC at Super Indy 5, and that was the world premiere of my book, This Side of Mike. So I got to actually announce again for the first time in 16 months, and it felt great. I was so happy because I'm sure as a lot of wrestlers know, this business, if you get into it, it really gets into your system, and you really can't get it out of it.
Yeah. I'm at the point now where I'm about to graduate from college, and I'm desperately trying to think of an idea of how I can keep doing a show just like this without, losing the credibility of being on AM radio. And that's the biggest problem because I just don't want to
Web
leave
radio,
wrestling.
man. We're web radio.
Yeah. I don't want to lose the business. I don't want to get out of it.
Speaking
Well,
of that,
keep staying there any way you can. Keep doing it any way you can, even if you have to do it just by yourself.
if you were to give an aspiring
Yeah,
wrestler some advice, or an aspiring wrestling announcer, pardon me, what would it be?
Well, it's funny because I do actually give a lot of advice in this book. I actually give the wrestlers more advice than the announcers, but I think for an announcer, you really have to be yourself and don't try to sound like anybody else because, a lot of people can do an impression of Jim Ross, they can do an impression of Joey Styles, but ultimately you're going to have, if you want to really succeed, you have to do things your own way. And so, you try to just be consistent. If you're going to be a baby face, just try to be as consistent as you can, or even if you're going to be heel, just try to be the same person all the time. Like I can't stand it sometimes when I hear an announcer sort of jump in and make some of these heelish comments out of nowhere, but then the next match they're just going back to normal. You really have to establish yourself. And for wrestlers, there's so many wrestlers out there in so many big and small federations that you've got to do something to break yourself out from the pack. And of course, a lot of times it helps to be especially big, or even to actually be especially small. Just, if you look like kind of a regular person, it's very hard to break out, even if you are a very good wrestler. So you got to just come up with something, just make yourself stand out any way you can.
Mm-hmm. We actually just interviewed a guy who also works for Ring of Honor, or did at one time, Gary Michael Capetta. Gary's also has a book out, incidentally, and he spoke a lot about what you just said. You have to develop credibility with the audience.
That's true, because a lot of times you're really the face of the entire company. Many times you're one of the only people talking in the ring. Sometimes people come up and ask you questions like you're the promoter just because you're sitting there wearing a suit and talking on a microphone. But you really got to, do your homework and try to know things backwards and forwards so you don't have to read stuff off of cue cards. Because the more you know and the more that stuff can come very easily off the top of your head, the better you'll sound and the more natural and professional the entire promotion will look.
Now, Jeff, this is Brendan Brooks. Sorry, I've been kind of quiet throughout the interview, but I've had to do some stuff a little bit. What else exactly do you do with your spare time? I mean, you can't just do the wrestling gig the entire time. I mean, what does Jeff Gorman do on his spare time?
What do you do to support your wrestling habit?
It's funny. Actually, what I am right now is I'm a full-time daddy because I have a 2-year-old daughter. My wife and I made the decision that one of us would stay home, and it turned out that Jen had the better job, and so it's me. So I've actually been a full-time daddy, but I also have been fortunately able to be a part-time sports writer. I write for a local paper here in Akron called the West Side Leader. So I write their whole sports section, and I cover some meetings for them. So that brings in a little bit of money, and also I've become a notary, like when people are getting a mortgage on their house and they need someone to come over with all those papers and stamp them. So I've been doing that too. So those have been like kind of my little extra jobs that I can do while being a full-time dad.
Yeah, you get the coolest
job. It's really very rewarding.
You get the coolest job in the world, basically.
I think so.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're going to have to let you go. We have such a jam-packed show, but before we do, give us a plug for the book, and why should a wrestling fan who, I've heard of you, I've seen some tapes that have featured you on there, but for some of the mainstream fans that just watch WWE Raw or watch Nitro or even caught ECW that never had a chance to see you, why should those people pick up a book like yours?
Well, because basically I'm a regular person like them. I'm somebody who grew up being a fan just like them and was fortunate enough. I mean, I worked hard, but I was also fortunate to get into the business, and it pretty much starts you from the very beginning. Even if you're, not that well-versed in wrestling, it takes you from when I started all the way through, and it shows how far I was able to get and all the people that I got to meet. I got to meet, Mick Foley. I got to meet Eddie Guerrero. I got to meet really lots of young and older wrestlers. And it's pretty much a regular person's journey into something very cool, which is pro wrestling. And if I could plug it real quick,
sure.
I would like to invite anybody who wants the book to just send me an email to Gorman Book, that's Gorman book at yahoo.com, so I could sign a copy for you and send it. That would be even better.
Cool.
And then if you live outside the country, then the best way to get it would be actually bn.com, which is Barnes & Noble's website. And I really want to thank you guys at the Wrestling Epicenter for having me on. I appreciate it, guys.
Excellent. We do appreciate having you on. It's always good to have somebody who is genuinely a nice guy to have on the show. So thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you, James.
Thanks,
Thanks, Jeff.
All right,
Take
that
care.
was Jeff Gorman on the Wrestling Epicenter here on the Blaze 1260 AM. We'll be back in just a moment with some ECW discussion, and we have a surprise guest for you guys, and I think you're going to like it.
Metal Mania, Tuesday nights, 8 to 10 p.m.
None of this. All of this.
All metal, all the time. Hear the newest from the metal scene. Every Tuesday night, 8 to 10.
None of this.
And just let her cry.
All of this.
The Blaze, 1260 AM.
It's the 50 Yards of Fury. And your friends at the Blaze and the Arizona Rattlers want to send you out to see exciting arena football action live. Listen to The Personal Foul every Monday night at 7 to hear exclusive interviews with Rattlers players and coaches and get your chance to win 2 free tickets to the next Rattlers home game at the U.S. Airways Center.
I like this kind of party.
The Arizona Rattlers, the Blaze 1260 AM, and The Personal Foul. Your ticket to the game.
Welcome back to Wrestling Epicenter, the Blaze, 1260 AM, doing it Wolfpack style.
In the house.
How sad was it when Sting, looking like a lobster, used to say hizzy?
Yeah.
That was the most surreal moments of my life.
We're back on the Sting sad.
This coming from a guy wearing a WCW NWO Revenge t-shirt where I think you can actually change Sting's paint.
Yes,
Yes, you can.
and it will change in the intro video of the game, which is awesome.
That was one of my favorite games of all time, and this is the shirt that I got when I bought the game back in '98.
Would you pre-order? EV Game style?
I think it was Electronic Boutique that I bought it from. Yeah.
EV.
Now, we've got some big news this week, but of course we skipped the opening formalities as usual. How you guys doing tonight?
Pretty good, actually.
Doing well. Where are you from this week?
I am from Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Kurt Hennig?
Maybe.
Very close. Very close.
Rick
And that
Rude?
would have tipped you off, given the recent things going on the other shows that we, of course, deal with. But no, this one is really obvious, and it is also current news.
Oh, wow.
Dun,
Here
dun,
comes the
dun,
pain.
Dun.
Brock Lesnar, of course, settling his lawsuit with the WWE.
Congratulations
Finally.
to him. Finally, yeah.
So in
Good
about a
for
month,
Brock.
he'll have a new one.
Yeah. Will he ever wrestle again? Who
Well,
knows?
he's wrestling, but he's in Japan, and the deal was basically, you can do what you want, you just can't work for TNA.
Wow, that's-
essentially.
How many
It
years?
was a great deal. It was a smart deal.
It's a smart WWE
Because
deal. I give him
TNA
credit.
could be shoot through the roof if they had Lesnar.
Yeah, they got Brock Lesnar.
He'd be beneficial to him, I will give you
yeah,
that.
It definitely
Biggest news of the week, ECW is
returns.
back.
Ugh.
Take it.
I will take it for you guys. The WWE announced on Sunday, the same day as TNA's Lockout pay-per-view, they'll be starting up a version
Lockdown.
of Lockdown.
Sorry.
Missed typo. Starting a version of Extreme Championship Wrestling, again starting in September. They announced that a few major ECW stars have already been sent contracts to sign. The first 3 to receive contracts is, of course, our very own Francine, the Sandman, and Balls Mahoney. In addition to those 3, Sabu has signed with the WWE the day after appearing at TNA's Lockdown pay-per-view. Sabu had a contract appearance to TNA, but it was a no loyalty to the product. Is this surprising in Sabu?
I'm really surprised to see Sabu sign with WWE given his work ethic in the past. Here's a man who, if you've watched the ECW DVD, The Rise and Fall, you get the entire promo Paul Heyman cuts ripping him apart about how his work ethic is terrible, about how he doesn't show up, and he bleeps the audience. I'm not going to say it, but
Yes,
I
but
love the promo,
Wow.
and it's memorable.
I do love that stuff, and I love when Paul does it, but Paul also does that stupid stuff and beats his head up against the wall. Who's he going to rebel against? Paul Heyman is a rebellious guy who wants to rebel against somebody, but who do you rebel against when the guy funding your company is the #1 wrestling promoter of the whole
The world.
of the world, in the world, and of all time?
In this
on
current
top of
solar
that.
system as well.
Nobody now. Now it's, I'm interested to see how they're going to present ECW. I think, spoiler alert. Spoiler
Spoiler word.
Spoiler, cover
3,
your ears.
2, 1.
This
Initiate.
is not an official spoiler, but this is what the insiders believe could happen. While it's almost guaranteed that Rob Van Dam will be cashing in his Money in the Bank title shot, that is if he keeps it through Backlash now, against Triple H at One Night Stand 2, Go with the theory that Van Dam wins the match. There's your ECW World Champion. Go with the theory that he loses the match. Controversially, there's your FTW World Champion. You've got a lot of things to look at. Spoiler over, by the way, ladies and gentlemen.
Excellent.
3, 2, 1.
All right, now I guess I have to address the situation. Of course, we kicked off the show with Jeff Gorman instead of the Queen of Extreme, Francine. No offense to Jeff, but I've always kind of had a special place in my anatomy for Francine. That wasn't my heart. But not for Gorman, though.
It was kind of random because I thought he was going to come later on the show, then all of a sudden Gorman's online. But,
I got him. He called in. We got him, and
that's cool.
That guy was.
That's how we roll.
He's prompt and.
Yeah, he's very prompt.
That was cool.
That was good, man.
I got to address the situation. I could not be happier for the Queen of Extreme, Francine, but it is a little bit bittersweet because she does have a gag order on her. She can't really talk right now about what's going on with the whole WWE ECW thing. And quite frankly, I don't know what her future is going to be with this show. Chances are she'll come on one more time in the future. I might not even be here when we do it. And just say goodbye to us all. And basically just, thank us for the year that she's been with us. I do appreciate it. I wish her the best of luck. I can't tell you how happy I am for her.
How do I put this? I'm sad to see you go, but I love watching you leave.
Okay, Lawler.
Wow.
Actually, that was John Travolta.
Either way, these are.
But
it's
unfortunate. It's great that she's moving on and possibly having a much more successful career.
More power to her.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll see her one day.
I hope so.
Up on that higher level there.
I can no longer do this, but hopefully I'm doing this from,
That higher level being WWE. No, that is not meant to be a religious statement given recent WWE gimmicks.
It's just me pointing to the sky because typically that's how I hear Francine's voice.
Quite possibly the most asinine thing I've seen in the past few weeks is that the WWE, you know how when they go over the card on television, they have the pictures?
Yeah.
Usually, and they always used to do the moving pictures.
Yeah.
Like, this man's going to fight this guy and this. But now that they do the still frames in a lot of their cases, I think possibly the most asinine thing I've ever seen is the still frame for God. It's just this shining light next to Shawn Michaels. That is really bad.
By the way, guys, I have a spoiler alert for you on that.
Spoiler!
3, 2, 1,
go.
I will bet my right leg that Vince McMahon gets struck by lightning in the match.
2, 3, 1, go.
Spoiler over, but you know what? I totally agree with you. And yet, if he does, he will probably flail around in a comical fashion that will be so hysterically bad.
And then the Undertaker can come in and bury him alive.
I'm gonna have to. I might actually have to.
They might actually. Here's what could happen. They could have a funeral for Mr. McMahon, and then he rises from the dead and becomes a Jesus Christ-like figure. We hope we don't see that happening.
Oh my God! Why are we talking about this crap?
What if he rises from the dead out of the Titantron and it's Marty Jannetty? Wouldn't that be surreal?
That'd be cool.
I'm biting my tongue now because I actually have MJ News, but I'm not allowed to share it.
Damn it.
Then it's not news. It's just hearsay.
It more goes.
Secrets.
It's ironic if you think about this. Here, put this together, and I hope all you listening can put this one together. Marty Jannetty is known to be notorious as the man who was the other Undertaker at the Royal Rumble in 1994 when he rose out of the Titantron, not then known as the Titantron, during the casket matches, like the rebirth of the Undertaker after it took some 50 guys to beat him down, and then green ash and green smoke and all this crap.
Everything.
So given that that's one of the favorite stupid gimmicks and one of the great inside facts about the world is that Marty Jannetty was the other Undertaker, if Marty Jannetty were to be the other Vince McMahon in this rebirth situation that would be similar to that, Marty Jannetty's relation in this whole rivalry is actually quite key, at least it was for a few weeks. How about that for irony, ladies and gentlemen? I predict he will be carrying Mae Young's hand in one hand and in the other Eddie Guerrero's skull.
Oh wow!
And now I'm gonna get struck by lightning.
That's not very far-fetched. For the longest time, I always thought the other Undertaker, the gray Undertaker and the purple Undertaker hands.
That was a different one. Yes.
That was the different rivalry, the Underfaker and the Undertaker.
Yeah, I always thought that was Kane for some reason.
I don't know,
like an earlier Kane. I don't know why.
It was actually Brian Lee.
Primetime Brian Lee.
And the funny thing was, when they were at TNA, everybody called him the Faker Taker. So, I thought that was pretty good.
Kane's most notorious role is still Glenn Jacobs, Isaac Yankem, TDS, and of course, because I have to plug it, Big Daddy Cool.
He's wearing
Diesel.
the glove right now, I swear to God.
I can't wear it anymore. It's too tight. I bought it when I was a kid. Give me a break. But I got the Diesel glove. That is this week's crappy prop.
He would not shake my hand unless I was wearing a leather glove, and I didn't have a leather glove on.
It smells like really crappy leather, too.
Ooh, it's probably about very many years old. Guys, right now, we might be having a special guest on the show just in a few minutes.
We gotta,
we're gonna keep
on. But you stay tuned, because after this break, it's time for a special guest. You guys are really going to like this one. Right here.
On the Blaze.
1260
AM.
Hey y'all, this is Rebel, and you're listening to the Wrestling Epicenter.
Welcome back to the Blaze, 1260 AM, and if you haven't guessed it yet, our special guest for this week is the one and only Christy Hemme. Christy, are you with us?
I'm here.
Fantastic.
It's great to have you on the show.
Hey guys, thank you for having me.
How you doing tonight?
I'm great.
All right,
I'm
should we all introduce ourselves?
That would probably be best.
Let's get to know each other.
So let's get to know each other. What's your name?
Get to know me.
First, up to bat first is Brendan Brooks.
He's the one talking
right now.
Okay.
Obviously, I'm the one talking. And then
James Walsh, that would be me. I'm the one who keeps calling you.
Okay.
And I'm the one who answered the phone when you called in. I am Ben Benya. It's good to speak to you.
Again.
I love your stuff. I loved watching you. It was great.
Thanks. Well, you got to watch more of me now.
Yes,
Oh,
indeed.
All right.
Actually, I just gave him a copy of Lockdown because he didn't order it, bad boy. And he's going to go watch it tonight, hopefully, and give us a review.
Yes, I am, actually.
So you get a little sneak peek of me.
Yes.
A little blink.
Yep.
It would make my night. I could not watch the rest of the pay-per-view. I'd just be happy right there.
It's a good pay-per-view, though. You got to watch the pay-per-view.
It is, and that's the first thing I want to ask you. First of all, what did you think of TNA, the atmosphere, when you first got there?
I was completely surprised, and I really didn't know what to expect. I only knew from what I had experienced at WWE, and when I went, just it was a completely different setting. I mean, walking in, it was very relaxed, and I don't know, everybody was just so happy, and it was a really great experience.
Did you say that's different than it was in the WWE?
Okay, I gotta watch what I'm saying.
Eggshells.
I wouldn't say no, everybody's not happy there. I'm just going into TNA. It's very relaxed, and people are excited about it. It's a new project. It's a new it's a baby brainchild that they're working hard to turn into a bigger product. And with that kind of excitement, and with people that are just genuinely putting passion into something new like that, it's a different kind of energy. Whereas WWE is very established and has been around for a long time, it's a completely different energy, and it was really a refreshing feeling walking in.
now, is WWE actually a little bit nervous and all because of TNA's, startup at all?
I mean, I couldn't say, but if I were them, I would be nervous about it.
Good.
Just because I think that the people it's a great group of people, and like these people, they're hungry. Everybody there is hungry, and sometimes that's lacking in people's attitudes. And when just walking in those doors, everybody there was hungry, and I could see it in everybody's eyes at TNA. They were hungry, and it's a fun thing to be around.
That's excellent. It's great to have you on the show once again. This is Christy Hemme on the Blaze 1260 AM. Getting back to the questions, though, I wanted to ask you, when you got to TNA, I asked you that, but when you got there, were you surprised to see some of the stars that you maybe came across in the WWE, such as the Dudley Boys?
Oh, it was nice to see them again. I mean, it's always nice. It's always nice to see
and Jackie too.
That I've
That's
seen
correct,
before,
too.
huh?
And Miss Jackie as well.
Yeah, I know. It was nice to see her and Gail, and let's see who else was there. Earl Hebner, Rhino, Spike Dudley. It was good to see everybody again.
I think I speak for everybody on this show when we said that we were just glad that you did not leave wrestling.
Yeah.
Oh,
Exactly.
and that was never anything. I mean, I couldn't say I was going to TNA. I've been very quiet for the past couple months, but I didn't leave WWE thinking I don't want to be part of wrestling. Wrestling, right when I won that Diva search, I mean, not even right when I won it, when I first started, going into the company, I was just like, oh my gosh, I can't see myself not doing this. And thank goodness for a company like TNA that's, there, because I would be doing, I'd be doing something in wrestling because I love it so much.
Are you still training to wrestle?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
That's
I went
great
to
to hear
wrestle.
that.
I went in and I was like, okay, guys, just want to let you know I really would like to wrestle, and P.S. I'd like to wrestle.
What was the look on their face? Were they just like, This girl's crazy.
Yeah, pretty much. I was like, I'll take a chair shot or, throw me through a table. I'm fine.
Table, why not?
That's what they love about you right there. Is that you just...
I'm like, I just love it. And just, I didn't do very much on the show, but just being around it makes me so happy. I was so happy to be there.
From what I heard, though, you were pretty involved in the Impact taping that's going to air tomorrow night as well.
Yes, it's cool working with, I get to work with, you guys will have to tune in and watch, so I can't give away any of the surprise, but
well, basically
really nice.
You play a very attractive Wink Martindale as a game show host.
Well, yep.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm now even more motivated to watch that, too. Holy crap.
I'm wearing a little dress.
Oh,
sweet.
And we've officially maxed out our ratings right
now, kind of going back to your roots, you won the Diva search, and when we saw you on TV, you seemingly had a genuine reaction. Were you actually filled in on before the actual event happened? Or was that right then and there?
That was right then and there. And
wow.
I don't even remember it happening. I was so like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I won. Out of my mind, happy.
You're like, is my name Christy Hemme? I don't know.
Like, what?
Honestly, though, when you were going out to that ring, did you think, okay, they've been grooming Carmella to win, so I don't stand a chance, even if the win's no for me?
I never let myself think about it as a contest. From the very beginning, I never even let myself think, hey, I might win this. I never let myself think I might lose this. I didn't let myself think about it in that way. I looked at the whole thing as a big audition to be in the wrestling industry. You know what I mean? Like I just wanted to be part of wrestling, and so that just happened to be a very nice byproduct of what I was doing.
Well, right when the Diva search basically started, when it was that first Diva search and you guys were first put on television, it was pretty obvious to everybody that you and Carmella were the two standouts. I mean, you had a lot more energy, emotion. You seemed like you really wanted to do this. Some of the others may not have had that emotion, and Carmella was branded as something a little bit less than that, which I can't say over the air. But let me ask you, on the Diva search, there was a lot of controversy behind that stuff. What's the truth to that? And more importantly, do you have any grudges held against you, or are you holding any grudges, or do you, did you get along with these people? How did it go for you?
Well, I really kind of stayed out of all that. And I don't think any of the girls don't get along now or anything like that. I think when you get into a situation like that, people's claws will come out. But right when it was over, it's kind of like, nobody really cared too much. I think it's just when you're under that kind of pressure and stress, everybody to some degree is going to want to win. Just personally, I know I wanted it more than anybody. So I kind of stayed out of it and just focused on the task at hand, which was, doing the best I could.
Was there ever a moment where you just had to say, wait, I need to stop for a second and see what the hell's going on? Because it just seemed like you just flew through there and bam, here you are today.
See, I don't quite understand.
Well, you're kind of this way. It seemed like your career just sort of took off. You ever had a chance to, kind of take a look back and say,
you went
wow.
From the
These past couple of months, when I was, I've been at home and stuff, is when I've really been able to sit down and be like, what do I want? What makes me the most happy? What I kind of reflect on everything that happened, because that was such a whirlwind. I was there for almost 2 years, and we were constantly on the go, which is great. I'm a workaholic. I love to work, so I'm not, varied by any kind of schedule. But it was cool to sit back. The first thing I did when I got home was I did the World of Wheels tour, and I went around and I would just sign probably like once a week or something like that. And it was a really neat experience to just sit and just talk to fans about wrestling and kind of see what I had done. You know what I mean?
Well, when you were going through the motions, though, you came in, you did the Diva search, you won that. All of a sudden, you're doing the Playboy thing. It just seemed like it was bing, bang, boom. You're in the women's title match at WrestleMania. Did it ever occur to you that, wow, all of a sudden I just stepped into this and I am in a very high-profile position?
Yeah, it was, and I think it was really quick and it happened really fast. But now it's like I can sit back and I think I'm going to be around for a while just because of my intensity and my passion for it. So I knew that it wasn't one of those things where you do something and it's like really exciting and then you're like, okay, I'm over that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I had a feeling when I walked into that audition. I remember walking in and thinking, oh, this is what I'm going to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
all
it's
came
not
together
like,
for you.
it was just a really neat experience to be able to do all that stuff.
Was there any resentment from female wrestlers when you got that women's title match at WrestleMania?
I didn't feel any.
That's good to hear.
Because I was so, I mean, it's really obvious even just like when I watch it back, it's so obvious. It was like my first match, you know, and everybody could see that. Everybody knew I was trying, but it was like, there was not really any comparison as, you know, to being a wrestler because I had so much work to do.
Well, most importantly, were you happy with your own performance? I mean, I remember watching the match. You have WrestleMania 21 on DVD, and you just worked your ass off out there.
You know, when I watch it back, it's just kind of comical to me because, like, my kicks and stuff, like, it just makes me laugh because I'm like, oh, look at me, I'm trying so hard, you know. But I mean, I'm proud that I did it, you know.
A lot of people say that Trish Stratus is probably the best female wrestler we've seen in the past 20 years. Being in the ring with her, did you agree with that statement?
Oh, she's very good. Very good, yeah. Oh, yeah, I definitely agree with that. She's got a special, not only is she a good wrestler, but she just has that charisma that you gravitate towards. And I was very honored to be in the ring with her.
So I take it when you watched your WrestleMania match, then watched your, I think it was a 6-person match at No Mercy, you see a vast improvement in yourself.
Yeah, I think that I improved a lot. Well, because I mean, right when we got off, or right after WrestleMania, we went on the road, like overseas, and I started doing matches with Victoria because Trish had a back injury, and I wrestled on the road 4 days a week for months, you know, and so it was great experience. And by the end there, I think my last match was with Melina on SmackDown, and I have to say I'm so thankful that I got that last match because I think it was by about that point that I was feeling like, hey, I'm starting to feel like maybe I'm, you know, I can do this, you know.
Now, moving on to a different question. Did you have any sort of, was it posing for Playboy basically a tough decision for you? Because you went just from going to wrestling and then all of a sudden, bam, Playboy, as I said.
You know, Playboy was never anything that I wanted to do. It was never something that I was like, I want to be a playmate or I want to, you know, it just really wasn't anything, a big dream of mine or anything, but I wanted to make the company happy and I wanted to, you know, I just wanted to represent, and that was an honor to be asked by them, you know, because there was, you know, the girls before me were, you know, it was very overwhelming. And I asked my father first if I was allowed to do it because he was like, I remember, you know, years ago, he was like, whatever you do, no posing nude, you know. So I asked him for his blessing, and he said yes, and I was like, okay, I'm going to do it.
Christy, we have to take a break. Can you stick with us through one more segment?
Sure.
All right, we're going to take a break right here on the Blaze 1260 AM. We'll be back with more with Christy Hemme.
If you smell what the Rock is cooking.
Welcome back to the wrestling episode of the Blaze 1260 AM. Right now on the phone, Christy Hemme, welcome back.
Hello, thank you.
It was very quick.
Yeah.
We like it like that. We wanted to get you back.
Oh, well, good.
We're enjoying it right now.
Why do I feel
entertaining.
Don't feel dirty. It's
We got lots of questions for me.
That's a bad
Yes, we do. Actually, we have the next question is a little bit on the hard side, and feel free to shoot it down if you don't want to answer it, but...
If I don't like it, I'm not going to say anything.
All right, we'll accept that. The question is, it's unfortunately concerning some bad news when you got released from the WWE.
Okay.
All right. You know the internet.
Yes.
You know they like to talk.
Yes,
you know the internet.
You've heard of it, right?
Yes, I've heard of it before.
It's that whole information superhighway thing. Yes. Well, the question I have for you is, of course, the rumors were going rampant about why you got released. Some even saying, oh, Stephanie McMahon was threatened by you. What was the real reason behind your release?
I mean, I don't know.
Were you upset that it was just some sort of random like that?
I kind of had a feeling. I always trust my gut, and I kind of had a feeling, but I don't know. All I know is that I always gave everything that I do 100%, and I think that things happen for a reason, and I really feel like I'm supposed to be at TNA. Like, especially since I've done my debut, just going over there, I just feel like I belong there. It feels like the company for me, and I didn't really realize it at the time, but maybe WWE isn't the right company for me, but it always felt like I was supposed to be in the wrestling business, just maybe I was not necessarily in the right place.
I have a really weird question for you.
Okay.
Not on the same topic, if it makes you feel better. It's like, it's completely obscure, and it popped into my head just now, and I had to ask it.
What?
Well, we were talking earlier about the kind of phenomenon that you became. You really went there quickly.
Uh-huh.
And now, whether or not you're aware of this, you do have your own action figure available.
I know, I have one.
It's an internet exclusive. You can still get one. How do you feel about being in the lore? I mean, there's only so many people who have been made into their plastic.
Immortalized, if you will.
It made
immortalized.
me so happy. It's like one of my favorite things because
Do you have one of your own?
I used to tell my girlfriends, and I used to joke around and be like, I'm going to be an action hero one day, girls, and I'd like run around, and because I used to travel with the dance team, so we'd be like goofy on the road all the time. I was on the road for 6 years before WWE, but so right when I got the doll, we all went out to Dimples, this karaoke bar, and I brought the doll, and I'm like, look at me, girls, I'm an action hero.
Do you have any other ones, take the Undertaker and actually, like, take the mini Christy and beat the little Undertaker down with it?
I beat you all up and I win.
The miniature Christy Hemme.
I love it.
Now, during that time between WWE and TNA, was it just like, I'm done, or what's the next thing?
I knew that I was going to do TNA.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that I knew that I was going to want to do it. I knew I was going to want to do something in wrestling. So,
And there's not a lot of choices out there.
No, I mean, I could do I'm going to do some of the indies, but I mean, I could go to Japan or, do stuff like that. I knew I'd want to do something in wrestling, but I just, I sat at home and I was just thinking, what do I want to do and what's going to make me the most happy. And I really am a workaholic, so I have to be working, but I forced myself to take a break and stop for a minute and kind of just reflect,
Yeah. As far as redheads go, I know redheads don't get enough credit as they should because you guys are like diamonds in the rough. When you find the right one, it's like, wow.
Redheads are the greatest.
Exactly, because, there's so many blondes, brunettes, yeah, they're a dime a dozen, You have one redhead, it's like, oh my God. So, do you want to see yourself as like the next great redhead of all time?
Do I?
Yeah.
Lucille Ball, take two.
I don't really think about that kind of.
It just popped in my head right now. I was like, wait a minute, she's a redhead.
I am the next great redhead
of all time.
Lucille Ball, Christy Hemme.
No, I don't really think about that. I mean, I really love being a redhead. I think it fits my personality, and I think it suits me very well, but I don't know about all that.
Very fiery.
But it's funny, in the same week that I did my TNA debut, I shot a horror movie.
Yeah, we heard about that with Peter Brady.
And I was the lust demon, the redheaded lust demon.
All right.
How was it work? How was that working with Peter Brady?
He wasn't there when I did it, but actually, and his what is it? His fiance, what's her name?
I don't have a clue.
Adrienne Curry.
Oh.
She did it too, but and the guy that did all of our like makeup and stuff, he did the mask for Star Wars and for Alien. So I had this really crazy, like when I eventually turned into the lust demon, I look insane. You guys, it's scary.
Wow.
Yeah.
Where can fans keep up on all the latest Christy Hemme news?
Okay, well, first of all my pictures will be going up on TNA this weekend.
Woo!
You've got to keep checking out the website. I'm sure I don't know if they're going to go up early or when they're going to go up, but they're going to be going up. Also, we have a big premiere next Wednesday for Global Impact on TNA, and it's our internet web show, and you have to check that out. And then TNA's new primetime show, it's on Thursday night, wherever your local listing time
Tell us a
is.
little bit more about next Wednesday night. Do we have competition out there now?
What do you mean?
Do I have competition now? Like, do we have to contend with TNA's official web show?
We're screwed.
Uh-oh.
You're screwed.
Uh-oh.
No, they could be on East Coast time, so.
But I think you can. I don't know exactly how it goes, but you can check it out at any time. You can
that's
always
good.
go on and log on and check it out, and all the details are on TNAWrestling.com. So.
All right. Now, a couple questions left for you. Rumors are that you're going to end up being Raven's girlfriend.
I haven't heard that one yet. I saw that was the rumor, but I haven't heard that from TNA yet.
All right. Shoot comment for me right here, okay?
Okay.
Be careful about that Raven.
Okay.
He chases anything in a skirt, trust me.
Okay.
And we've already determined you're wearing a skirt, so we should...
I love my skirt.
Keep that folding chair handy.
Now, before we let you go, let's do a little bit of some word associations with you. We're going to give you a name. You just say the first word or thing that comes to your head, all right?
And if you have a story, you can share the story too.
Yeah, go ahead.
3, 2, 1.
All right, first one I'm going to give you, pretty obvious, Carmella.
No swearing.
No swearing.
I think Vixen.
Oh, okay. That's a good choice of words. How about this one? The Ugandan giant, the mighty Kamala.
Belly, baby, belly.
I have to ask you.
Just wanted to play in it.
Oh, really? We actually interviewed him, and I asked him a question about the Diva search, and he said, I don't think any of those girls had any idea who I was.
No, they didn't.
Did you, or no?
Huh?
Did you have any idea who he was?
I didn't know who he was either.
He's the Ugandan
perfectly
giant.
honest with you, huh?
He's the Ugandan giant.
I know. Well, we all know now, but we didn't know then.
That must have been pretty shocking.
It was. We didn't know what to do with him because he wouldn't respond to us. So we were like, okay.
Carmella was the best. She just stood and laughed. It's like, okay.
All right, next one on the list, Jonathan Coachman.
Big mouth. That man can talk.
Wow. Trish Stratus.
Legend.
How about your former roommate on the road? I'm drawing a blank. Help me out here.
I'm not helping you.
I'm not helping you, man.
She just posted Playboy. Why? Candace Michelle. There we go. I am an airhead. I am such an airhead. Sexy, was that?
Sexy.
Okay.
Cyndi Lauper.
Cyndi Lauper? She's, what is the, girls just want to have fun. That's what I think.
Exactly.
Where the hell did that one come from?
I just saw that in my head right now.
How about Lita?
Strong woman.
All right, next one. Oh, let's see. Going down the list here. Stacy Keibler.
Legs, baby.
Are you surprised that she's as successful as she's been?
No way. I'm not surprised. That girl deserves it, and she's just got such a great personality, and she's beautiful,
All right, how about somebody that you've been rumored about? And feel free to say nothing or tell me to shut up. I don't mind. Batista.
What do you mean rumored with?
Oh, man, you should see the rumors. I'd have to send you...
Oh, no, I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
If Batista and her were a couple, I would die.
Huh?
I would pass out in just unbelievable joy.
Well, you'll be happy to know.
Married.
You'll be happy to know that you've been dating Triple H and Batista backstage for months.
Oh, great.
All right.
I'm so happy
We don't know what
that
fantasy
one.
land the internet kids are living up in, but
That's a new one.
I've got two more for you. First one is Ashley Mazzaro, the 2005 Diva Search winner.
I just love her. I love when she screams. She does that. She just entertains me. She's a really sweet girl.
All right, last one. We ask, I think, everybody this one because it's always great to get a good reaction. Vince McMahon. Sorry.
You're officially off the Budweiser hot seat.
Not my favorite man.
Wow, that's surprising. But he's the god of McMahonism now, though, right?
Yeah.
Great.
I don't even know how to respond about that one.
Honestly, if you can, I trust you, of course, considering that I have to sit back here without a dropout. So.
Well, he's exactly like how he is on TV.
Yeah, I've heard
that's
that.
That's what we hear.
I have to give you one last word association, and that's just because it's a guy you were around so much, especially at your beginning stages. How about a guy that I think is hysterical? How about the Coach?
I think we already did that one.
We did.
We already did that.
Jonathan Coachman.
That was.
I was like,
suck.
can we already do that?
I
Is that
suck.
mine?
Yes.
James
I
Walsh,
suck.
Me?
where have you been?
That is the second time I've done that in the past 3 months, and that's mostly because I took my headset off to say, okay, who's asking the next question?
Okay.
Well, I guess it's all we have for you for the night. Christy Hemme,
Okay.
muchas
All right,
gracias.
Christy, thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
We'll see you tomorrow night on TNA Impact, and of course, keep checking them out every Thursday night on Spike TV. And the next pay-per-view, I believe, is sometime in the middle of May, so keep it locked to TNAWrestling.com for all that information. And we'll be back with more from the Blaze 1260 AM right after this.
Hey everybody, this is the original Diva of the WWE, Sunny. Oh, if you want to know me by my real name, Tammy Lynn Fitz, and you are in the Wrestling Epicenter.
Is that the original or no?
No.
It sounds very similar.
Mr.
There you go.
Mr. Perfect.
Yeah.
Mr. Perfect.
Okay, you can stop that now.
I can't. I'm glad we're able to get into the groove. I'd like to thank Christy Hemme one more time.
That was awesome. She is a hot tamale.
That was great.
I enjoyed myself, even though I was an airhead.
That is better than Colt Cabana.
Ooh, that's
Times
a tough
five.
one.
That's a tough one, but I got to tell you.
She's a woman.
Yes, no.
She's a woman, yes.
She's
I
a
made
woman.
That.
He's
She's
a
redhead.
man.
She's hot.
I have a warm place in my
He's a
anatomy for her.
man.
That's not my heart.
Oh, Lord.
I used that line twice tonight.
Oh, man.
Wasn't funny either time.
We should
but I
limit
just
you.
used it again.
It was
We
funny
should
that you
limit
said
you
it
to at
wasn't
least
funny.
twice a night. Only.
On the Blaze, 1260
AM.
What was that?
That was our dry ID for the night.
Since we're talking about TNA, and we have been for almost a month now, we're really giving a lot of time to TNA.
Because we kind of
Because we
left them out for a
love
while.
TNA. It's a guilty pleasure. It's
How are we doing on time?
Kelly Clarkson.
We're doing fantastic.
We're doing
on time.
fantastic on time, so let's talk the
Do we have enough
lockdown.
time to do Backlash after lockdown?
Yes, we do. We have plenty
Excellent.
of time.
Let's
We're
do
gonna
lockdown
preview,
then.
preview Backlash after lockdown. It'll be
Lockdown
perfect.
results, shall we?
Mr. Lockdown.
Results of the first match. Team Japan defeated Team USA in a six-man World X Cup style match. Senshi, the former Low-Key, defeated Christopher Daniels.
As Bobby Heenan might say, this looked like the inside of a Swedish watch. There were parts flying everywhere, but the weird thing is the parts seemed to be flying in the right places. It actually worked. It was complete chaos, but it actually made sense, and the ending was phenomenal.
It was what we called organized chaos,
You ever get that feeling people are listening really closely for one word?
which is
TNA. Mike is with us once again, our resident TNA analyst. Mike,
Hello?
how you doing, Mike?
Hi, I'm doing fine.
Hey, Mike, good to have you on the show. What'd you think of Christy?
Christy Hemme?
Yes.
Oh my God, no other woman could be perfect for TNA than her, actually, you know?
No other woman would be perfect for me.
Sorry, I heard that. I'm like, what are you talking about, man?
Think about it, man.
I'm not gonna think about it.
I like the redhead.
But so, what'd you think of that first match?
I like him a lot.
Man, don't do that again, dude. I swear to God. You do that again?
Oh my God, we got
Let's focus now.
Meatwad is with us.
No, he's not. He kind of comes every now and then.
Yes, indeed.
So we completely ignore
I
you
think
there.
we've frightened Mike.
Mike, I'm sorry, dude.
I didn't understand. Seriously, I didn't understand what we were talking
What
about.
the hell is going on?
How would you like that first match, dude?
Okay, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I actually did miss TNA last week.
Oh, you didn't see the pay-per-view.
No, I didn't. Seriously, that really sucked on my part.
It's all good, dude.
You
You're
and
just
Benya are gonna get
you were just
whipped.
calling in to give the praise of Christy Hemme and how friggin' awesome she is.
Well, honestly, I'm not just a TNA fan. I love WWE, but honestly, TNA is like it's making me love TNA. TNA, I'm starting to love it more than WWE now.
Are you starting to love wrestling more because of it?
Now I'm starting to love that better than WWE.
I'd agree with that. Unfortunately, it's just not enough programming for me to be completely devoted to it like I was for, and I know Ben will hate me for it, for WCW. I was devoted to it because there was just so much programming that you could just wrap yourself in it, whereas TNA has a great 3-hour pay-per-view that blows anything WWE, how many W's did I just say, away.
3.
Yes, indeed, WWE. All right. I thought it was a phenomenal pay-per-view this past Sunday, and I guarantee you it will blow away Backlash.
Probably will. Saw your hand on that CD player there,
There's nothing
Ben.
really new at WWE right now except Vince McMahon putting more stuff up as about when it comes to storylines.
Yeah. Fire up his butt in a way. I really do hope that TNA becomes the next great big thing because
It's just one step at a time.
one step at a time, but when one company's doing good, the other company, hopefully, will do just as better, if not.
One foot in front of the other. Sorry.
I'm pointing to it, like every time I'm pointing to Ben, you're like, Hassan?
Talk.
No.
I am thinking about it, but I'm not doing it yet.
He's very, very
I have to say, but I was so close doing it on the WCW thing.
What were you going to do?
I was
Hassan you, man.
Hassan you,
All
because
hard.
WCW having any level of programming that was entertaining for the longest amount of time. You said it could engulf you. There was just so much of it. They had 3 hours, and they devoted at least an hour and a half to crap.
Unfortunately, that's accurate.
That's accurate now, though. So
I mean, if you take a look at 95, 96, 97, and half of 98, it was good. Then it hit the wall harder than Britney Spears' looks.
Ow.
She's actually having a second kid soon. But that's besides the point.
match.
Let's go to the next match on the card. Bull Bob Armstrong with BG Road Dogg James and Kip, formerly known as BA.
Another old man kicking the crap out of a...
Another old man defeated Conan with Homicide and some other guy in a freaking arm wrestling match.
And some other guy.
Yeah.
You know what?
It literally says some other guy.
I wrote
That's what it says. Well, here's the bad part about
I'll
an
take
arm
credit for
wrestling
that one.
match. You guys read the great arm wrestling match movie of the 80s?
No.
Over the Top, Sylvester Stallone?
Yeah,
No.
you told me about it, and I actually did.
Well, I heard about that we were talking about arm wrestling last week. I'm like, what kind of bad movie came out of the 80s was that? It was Over the Top.
Over the Top.
This reminds me, why would you put a bad movie like Over the Top in a really, really good card like this? Doesn't make sense.
All I want to say about this match is, did
Wrestling.
anybody else notice that Conan kept dancing even after the music stopped?
I think that's all he knows how to do now.
I hate Conan. And he wore that hat in the retarded position.
At least he wasn't dressed as Max Moon.
He was wearing
Ooh.
the bushwhacker hat, but nobody else noticed it. He added that crooked sideways. He looks like such an idiot. Release this guy.
Release this guy. Next match on the card, Team 3D defeated Team Canada. And
Again.
quote, and had the worst version of the Star Spangled Banner that James has ever heard in his 24 years on this planet.
And I'd like to physically harm whoever created that theme.
I'd like to fairly say that was not nearly as bad as a lot of the stuff Jimmy Hart manufactured for WCW.
They seriously need better music.
I actually heard the clip of it. Somebody sent me a clip of it.
It was
One
that
of my
bad?
friends from back in Colorado sent me a clip of it. Like, you got to hear this. This is so bad. And I listened to it and I was like, oh god.
Was it Ashley Simpson quality bad?
It was worse than that.
Well, you know what?
was indiscernible.
Here's one thing. The best theme song now in TNA is Scott Steiner. That's what I think.
And that's because it's the exact same theme, just about.
Yeah, it's just
Siren thing?
a different drum beat and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's just simple.
Yeah.
It's not...
That's all I knew for Steiner,
people
though.
saying guilty or crap like that.
You don't need something hardcore for Scott Steiner to come out. There we go. You can't get any more simpler than that. It's just
so happened to have had that on me. I'm sorry.
Is this WWE or TNA?
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter,
That was
it's the
actually
same
old
thing.
WCW.
Oh,
That's
good.
like the only cut of it a lot of people ever had on the internet.
he doesn't still wear that stupid chainmail thing, right?
Yeah. God.
Oh god.
The man is derailed.
Somewhat. Anyways, next match on the card, Chris Sabin won the Ultimate Escape match versus Petey Williams, Alex Skipper, and Shark Boy.
I like Chris Sabin.
Oh, yeah. He looked good in this match. And Chase Stevens did the sickest spot. It was not as bad as Brock Lesnar from WrestleMania 19, but it wasn't far. He did a shooting star press off the top of the cage, and nobody caught him.
That's great.
Oh, crap.
Yeah, I mean, we did an interview with Alex Skipper for the 3 Count Wrestling show yesterday, and he said he felt so horrible because nobody was there to catch the guy, and he just basically fell flat on his face.
Talk about acting like a family.
Yeah. He said...
It's a circle of trust, and he wasn't in it.
He broke that circle of trust.
Actually, Elix made the effort to catch him, and Elix ended up getting bruised arms from it. So he was trying.
Thank you.
See, that wasn't that bad.
I think Chris Ferguson's the one to hear that all night now.
It took... The only reason I did it, in complete honesty, is because the physics of the damn thing. One guy is going to catch a guy the same size as him with the velocity he's coming down and the angle at which he's positioned. I'm surprised he didn't go through the freaking cement, okay? He's lucky.
All right.
He's very lucky.
Lord.
Next match on the card, Samoa Joe retaining the X Division title against Sabu.
Actually, lackluster match, in my opinion. It was good, but I expected more out of those guys, especially Sabu, who is known to take insane bumps, and he did basically nothing off the cage.
Why does he have to take insane bumps? He can protect himself now that he's under a real contract.
Exactly.
I will say this.
Mm-hmm.
I really hope that's not the last show I'll ever see Sabu at TNA.
Oh, it is.
It
he already
is.
signed with WWE.
Damn it.
And that almost... signing with WWE or being released with WWE has the same consequence, a no-compete clause.
Yes, indeed.
Almost every time.
So pretty much by the time you're done with the no-compete clause, you're pretty much useless then.
And TNA's not going to let, like, Raven or Rhino go to the ECW one-night stand?
I hope not, and
If they're smart, they don't.
They're going to have to watch themselves, and that's my honest opinion.
Well,
everybody that used to be with ECW, they better get them on a more ironclad contract or get rid of them now.
Well, Raven freelances. I mean, come on, Raven has been the biggest freelancer. But then again, WWE didn't want to work with him at the first one. What's to say they want to work with him this time?
He was always entertaining at Sunday Night Heat.
That's true.
Alrighty.
But if Raven did, he would have to be against Tommy Dreamer.
Next,
no one else.
Next match on the card, Christian Cage retaining the NWA World Heavyweight title over Abyss with, of course, Father James Mitchell.
Best cage match I've seen since Bret Hart versus Owen Hart at SummerSlam '94.
Wow.
What?
That's saying an awful lot. I can't assign him because I can't prove anything against
Yeah, because neither him or I have seen the pay-per-view yet.
Yes, I can.
You just did.
I can, and I'll tell you why. Chris Benoit, Kurt Angle in a steel cage when Angle did that sick moonsault.
Yeah, that was pretty good too.
That was one of the best things I've ever seen in a cage. But
Christian does a frog splash off the top of the cage, which is pretty cool. And there's the finish of the match. And for those of you who haven't seen yet or plan on buying the replay, turn away now. But the finish of the match
Spoiler alert.
is, well, it's not a spoiler because most people saw it.
Turn away.
Yeah, turn away. Cover your ears, I don't know. But the finish of the match, if I can get it out this time, is a unprettier into thumbtacks, face first.
On Abyss?
Yes.
He's wearing a mask.
Yes, but
that's TNA's immediate. That's their immediate stab back at WWE. WWE says, "Look what we can do with Edge. We can have him take a face full of fire." Yeah, well, we can have this guy get basically gouged with thumbtacks. Good lord.
He had worse at No Surrender.
He's got a point.
It was a sensational match, though. I think anybody out there needs to watch it. And there's some debate amongst all the other hosts of the weekend show, the Weekend Warriors of Wrestling, and 3 Count Wrestling, on if this was the match of the night or the next match was the match of the night. I go with this match. And the next match...
Let's see, well, kind of easy, right?
Thank God he didn't win.
Next match on the card, Sting's Warriors defeated Jarrett's Army when Sting reversed Chris Harris's sharpshooter and put him in the Scorpion Deathlock.
That was great. Read that again. Read exactly what you just said.
Sting's Warriors
one more
defeated
time.
Jarrett's Army when Sting reversed Chris Harris's sharpshooter and put him in the Scorpion Deathlock.
Now, do you want to know why I wanted you to read that again?
Same move?
It's the same freaking move.
Well, it actually
but
had
it's only
psychology.
the Scorpion Deathlock.
Guess who was the
Sting does
referee?
it.
Guess who was the referee?
Nick Patrick?
Earl Hebner.
Oh, wow.
He put him in the sharpshooter.
Did he ring the bell just
No.
compulsively?
Ring the bell, ring the bell.
It was the exact same spot, and you saw him reaching for the leg, and I think everybody in the arena thought he was going to ring the bell. And then he reversed it.
What is with... I'm confused about that. Like, what are they, like, trying to do here?
Everyone wants to milk that whole Bret Hart thing. The problem is it's way overplayed, and it's almost a decade later. The last time that happened, my New York Rangers were in the playoffs. They're still in. They won't be after Saturday. It's sad, but, whatever.
It's okay.
The point is, it's old news.
Don't worry,
and trying to continue. I will hit you, James. I'm not kidding.
Hey, man, my Carolina Hurricanes
Well,
are
it's not even true
down
anymore.
2-0.
It's 1994.
2-1. They
now.
won tonight. You got to look at it as everyone's trying to make money off this one spot that happened so long ago. It's like crap now.
It was a turning point of a generation.
You just got assigned by the guest. I love it.
He did it himself, though. Bonus points.
2 points.
Wasn't bad. Pretty good.
Yeah.
But speaking of spots, there's 2 6 spots in this match, and you guys got to watch it when you watch the DVD that I got for Ben. There is a spot where they do, it's just a train wreck of a multiple member suplex where AJ takes a suplex essentially from the top of the cage and just about lands on his head. Then when they put the roof on the cage, AJ and
when they put the roof on the
they
cage,
put the
that's
roof on the cage at the
disturbing.
end.
Oh boy!
At the end of the match, once everybody was in, they put the roof on. AJ and I believe it was James Storm climbed the cage. They go up the cage. AJ grabs a ladder and is on a ladder on top of the cage with James Storm on a table. The arena is so small, AJ actually grabs onto the scaffolding, does a little monkey bars across the scaffolding, and drops an elbow through a table on top of the cage.
Was there like a holy S chant in the crowd?
Oh, yes.
Dumbass. I'm sorry. You described it to me, and it sounds really cool.
It does.
Dumbass.
He said,
what the hell are you thinking?
The scream that Mike Tenay made was hysterical. He goes, "Oh my freaking God!"
That was Mike Tenay.
Mike Tenay doesn't have a bassy
John
voice.
West died.
Ouch.
Yeah, I just remember the guy I was trying to talk about was Mike Tenay. He was like the WCW announcer.
Yeah.
Mike Tenay.
Mhm.
Because I was just confused with Don West and Mike Tenay. I'm still trying to memorize everybody's names at TNA.
Don West sucks. Mike Tenay has some credibility.
Oh, Don West doesn't.
And
Don West sucks.
Ouch.
You're an angry man.
Sucks.
And now some
terrible.
Now some special notes before we go to break. Larry
Gotcha.
Sabisco was put on probation by TNA as a TNA CEO. And also, Raven's back, of course, and
Raven's back and he has blue hair.
blue hair. Gotta have blue hair.
Him and
I'm
him
just glad he's back.
he just must have so much hair damage.
No matter how old that guy is, he's always. I loved him. I mean, even though he was at Sunday Night Heat and like jacked for the rest of his career in WWE, he was always a good wrestler in my view.
He needs to get back in shape. Like good
He looked
shape.
a little bit better than he did before he left, but he
keeps
still
looking
doesn't look
bloated.
good. He still didn't look perfect, but he looked a lot better than he did when the last time I saw him.
I thought he looked good at 2002 when he had
Yeah.
that
Blonde.
the way he looked.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, Mike, we gotta let you go, man. We gotta get on a break right now.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for calling. Have a good night.
See you next week.
Adios.
All right, next week. Well, actually, we're not on next week. We will be having a 2-week hiatus, and then we'll be back for finals week. But before we go for the evening, we got
a
to do
break.
a backlash.
We got a
preview.
break. We go to break.
Yes.
And we got the backlash.
After the break, we have a backlash
preview. We got
preview.
15 minutes, man.
Yes, I know.
All right.
Break it.
I'm not ending the show.
You want to go?
Actually, I do.
fine.
I have to go to the bathroom.
Okay.
Big Wolf, want to fight about it?
I am watching UP.
Great.
And I'm not enjoying it.
I got the stupidest call of all time. Who's the black guy from Ghostbusters?
Winston.
Winston. There you go. Thank you. Now let's go to break.
Ernie Hudson.
Ernie Hudson, Winston.
Ernie
Thanks.
Hudson. Let's go to break. We'll be right back here on the Blaze, 1260 a.m.
The man in black. He's got a tombstone just for you.
What? Welcome back to Wrestling Episode of the Blaze, 1260 a.m. I was thinking, is that Eruption by Van Halen but played by somebody else?
I should be killed. I'm sorry. I really should be killed. James is still in the bathroom right now.
Currently taking his,
Poor guy.
whatever that he does.
Here he is.
Let's go now we're on. Now he's back. Welcome
He's
back.
back.
James. He had to run pretty quickly.
Hey, buddy.
Welcome back.
WWE tours overseas.
And a backlash preview following that.
Yes.
Go.
Overseas tour, interesting press. Between John Cena seemingly not having one fan in Europe and Shawn Michaels being attacked in Belfast, the WWE has certainly had an interesting trip, but actually the show's been kind of a big success, you know?
They always do well when they tour overseas, but I had to mention this for the John Cena effect. Europe gets it. I've always said, if you hate Cena, don't boo him. Don't give him any reaction at all. And that was the most abysmal reaction I ever saw in professional wrestling when Cena came out for his main event appearance. There was initial boos when the music hit, and then the crowd just died when he came out. And what pissed me off about it most was that Cena was walking to the ring. He's acting as if he's getting the greatest reaction ever, and there's just nothing.
Wow.
Cena's way too good of an actor for his own good.
Well, the Marine hasn't came out yet, so.
While we have a chance, and I don't think it ever will,
Ooh.
while we have a chance, let's move on to Backlash. And with us, joining us, we have Brian on the line. Brian, are you there?
Brian.
Hey, what's up?
He's there. How you doing tonight, man?
All right, I'm promo cutter on the forums.
All right, man. Good to have you on the show.
On the forum.
All the way from Hawaii.
Forums.
It's good to have you on both, actually.
Aloha.
It's
you always have to be the idiot who does that, and that's me.
You are the reason diversity cannot succeed.
Diversity is a
main
dangerous, stupid word invented by college professors to make themselves feel better.
That's
Moving
true.
on, Backlash.
Backlash. I will run this down just out of my head. The last match added to the card, and the one that I think may be the worst, Ric Flair versus Umaga, with Armando Alejandro Estrada in his corner. I'm still trying to figure out how a Cuban is managing a Samoan and how all this came to be, but hey, I digress, because they're going to be fighting an old man.
That's how diversity strives in WWE.
This fall on Fox. Oh, God. What do you got to say about this? I can't say much about it.
I was just gonna say it's like the worst build-up for like a feud ever, because like they only hit him like I think 2 weeks ago, and there was like really no build-up. And shows up on Monday. Flair shows up to fight him. And it was just dumb. Like how you gonna have? Like,
Seems like Vince was like. Seems like Vince was like, Rick, put this guy over.
Yep, exactly.
That's it.
I gotta be honest. I watched. They've been trying to say Umaga. He's really dominating. He's really powerful. He's Jamal from 3 Minute Warning. whatever. He's really, I hadn't seen any of this power or domination. When he threw that guy into the steps on Monday, even I took, I was like, holy crap, that was cool. Do it again.
It's shocking because the guy actually like stopped to look at him before he hit the ground again. It's like,
wow, you threw him hard.
Of course, it's more going to his head instead of his ankle.
It was
yeah, like he's a good wrestler. I just hate the Umaga gimmick. Like it's 280s for me.
Second match on the card, and one that I have been dying to discuss. Mickie James and Trish Stratus.
Redo.
Anyone who tells me that this rivalry has not continued to get great build-up, I'm sorry.
It's because it actually has been building up.
It's awesome. This is an awesome rivalry. I can't wait. These two are really working hard to make it look good. I can't wait.
I was very excited to see Mickie James looking like Mickie James again.
I was very excited to see Trish Stratus.
It's a women's
Trish
match.
Stratus, I don't care.
I may or may not pay attention. Just depends how I'm feeling that day.
You're not going to pay attention.
Probably
Brendan.
not. It's going to be more of the, no, it's not going to be good. I'll go back and make some nachos or something,
Brian, what do you have to say?
Well, I think like that's like one of my favorite feuds right now because like it built up like the way they used to do, where it was over like a long period of time, and then you had the big payoff, like it's Saturday night's main event, and then the feud like really started. And I think they should do that with all their feuds, but they haven't been doing that.
Well, the benefit of that is that there's just so few women to work with that they almost have no choice but to have long feuds.
Yeah, I'm wondering if this is the end, though.
I don't know. With the way the women's division works, it seems like they have 3 women rotate every year. And I think it might be the end. I hope it's not, because they've done a really good job with this. But then again, where else can they go from here?
Well, Victoria's not out of the company yet. I say yet because I don't think she'll be there by the end of the year, but that's neither here nor there.
Next
I was wondering if Jillian Hall was going to show up because she just got fired by JBL.
Can she wrestle?
I think you're going to end up actually seeing her manage. God, I had a name in my mind on SmackDown of somebody she was going to manage.
Well, she used to wrestle on OVW. I know that.
Yeah.
I think Melina needs to come over to Raw. I love her too.
Awesome. Next match on the card, Benya.
Carlito versus Chris Masters, a match where they are trying their best. This is great. This is great commentary because 3 weeks in a row now I've heard the same commentary, the exact same lines, which are Styles and Coachman baffled that the fans have sided with Carlito, and then the exact same line used by Lawler every time. Well, that's because Masters is a meathead. And every time I laugh.
Because he is.
Carlito has a cult following of fans. I was one of the first, I will be honest.
I was too.
I was his fan. I wasn't a big fan of his work ethic, but we loved Carlito, and now that he's the face, so to speak, we love him even more.
I was the only guy it was at the time the America West Arena that went crazy when Carlito came out. This was the night that he got drafted over to Raw. I was like, yeah.
Yeah, Carlito. And then he goes and wins the Intercontinental title and takes
From
away.
Shelton, which was great, and Shelton almost killed himself that night.
I got to be honest, though. Can these two work a match against each other?
Ooh, Chris Masters.
Masters has worked hard. So has Carlito. Carlito is a better
Both of
wrestler
them have.
than
I'm not
Masters,
denying that, but
neither one of them has been able to carry a match.
they don't seem they can kind
Carlito-
of bounce off each other as well as
This is where WWE misses Chris Jericho.
Yeah.
Masters has a finisher and Carlito doesn't. So that's a big problem.
Ooh.
Well, he has that move that Reno used to do, right?
Sorta, yeah.
He's
The
got
roll
the
of the
knees.
dice.
He's got the knees in the back move that he likes to do, and then he does the swinging neck break. Somebody on the boards, please do some.
Why? I was
research on
wondering,
this
like,
one.
why doesn't he have a move?
He doesn't need one.
Doesn't need one, I guess.
He doesn't win any of his matches. USA.com, USANetwork.com has win-loss records of everyone on Raw. Carlito is like 2-7.
Wow.
Since they came back, and I think that's great. I really do.
Yeah, why have one if you're not going to win? Basically, mean.
Next match on the card: Shelton Benjamin versus Rob Van Dam.
Ooh.
Winner take all Intercontinental title for the Money in the Bank shot. I got to be honest.
This could be good.
This could be a damn good match.
Freaking awesome.
But that's why I don't like the fact that it has any stipulations to it
No
whatsoever.
stipulations, just straight up wrestling.
It should have been. It should have been.
Ladder
It's not-
match.
Now that's what it should have been. But now it's Money in the Bank.
It could have been like a paper on the pole match. Capture the flag. Do whatever you need to do to make this match
My
special.
favorite gimmick match of all time: Viagra on a pole match, a double entendre.
I knew you were gonna say that. I knew that was coming.
No, nothing beats the horde of the capture the flag match between USA and Canada.
You know what I think they're doing with that whole thing, though? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, that was my thought.
He was done. He's done thinking for the night.
I think they're doing is like they're gonna do the whole thing where they used to do, where the guy that's gonna win the title eventually he gets like the IC title, and then like a week before the pay-per-view, the champion costs him the title, and then he ends up winning the world title. I think they did that with like Cena on SmackDown not too long ago.
Possibly.
Sounds about right. Someone do research on that one.
Right now?
Not you.
Let's go.
Real quick, though, 3.5 minutes to go, ladies and gentlemen.
Ooh.
That's enough of that. Next match on the card. You know, this is a really strong card for Raw, to be completely honest. Except that there's Big Show fighting Kane on the card, May 19th. What the hell is this crap? What is that? What is going on?
Tag partners no longer, right?
Big Show, no, they're still tag partners, but Kane hates the Big Show because the Big Show says the day of the movie to him, "Are we 10 years old?"
No. Are they 10 years old?
I don't want to hear a date.
I don't want to hear it, May 19th.
No.
My movie, May 19th.
See no evil.
You know, you don't see me on here promoting the fact that I will be on a DJ shift May 4th from 2 to 4 p.m.
Shameless self-promotion. Shameless self-promotion.
Oops. Yeah, just go check my MySpace for more. MySpace.com/TheBenya. Oh, look at that.
Wow.
There.
That would. If I had the chance, I'd piss on you right now, but clearly the CD player's out of reach.
There you got it.
I'm just going to learn Arabic just so I can understand what the hell he's saying.
He's not saying anything.
He's chanting.
Big Show and Kane.
He's actually Italian.
What is the positive of this match? Is there any?
None. Two big guys throwing crap.
One big downside.
One big downside.
It's crap.
Yeah.
Crap.
Next match.
We're down to the final two, I believe. I'm going to say this one is not the main event. Vince McMahon and Shane McMahon versus Shawn Michaels and God.
Hopefully Lightning Bolt strikes McMahon's ass, and
yeah, that's going to happen.
then he comes back as Jesus.
Hopefully this ends that crappy rivalry.
It's not going to end it, man.
Shawn
I'm sorry.
Michaels is not Stone Cold Steve
Every
Austin.
single time Vince cuts a promo, he says, "If I'm wrong, may God strike me down." God's going to strike him down at this pay-per-view.
Hopefully. And hopefully
Owen
him and the
Hart's gonna
gimmick.
do it.
Ooh, Blue Blazer style. Over
you
the
know
edge,
what?
right?
You can say, ooh, you can be, you know, I know what I'm saying is offensive, but hey, I'm not Vince McMahon. I'm not
Exactly.
that offensive, am I?
No, you're not on TV, that's why.
Final match on this card, something that has really had great build-up. It has really been entertaining. I was really entertained by the main event until I found out that there was no conclusion to it on Raw. That would be
What happened in the main event?
Triple H, Edge, John Cena for the WWE Championship. Crap, I almost pulled a James.
Yes.
Is there any positive to this match? Minute to go.
Yes, because John Cena will hopefully not have the belt.
That's true.
I tend to agree.
I hope they
Unfortunately,
put it on Edge. But
I
they
do
won't.
too, but unfortunately, I think he's going to be the one to get jobbed out.
Yeah, Triple H will pin Edge.
But that's the thing that really annoys me is that Edge is the only person in this feud that's actually done his job. Edge is a heel, and he's actually getting a heel reaction.
And he's played it well.
That's a
And
novel
I
reaction.
still love him. It's great.
Great. Let's take one more time.
Go for it.
Go for it.
Let him go.
Okay. I just thought about like Lita was in ECW, so they might do like a storyline with that. I don't know.
That's true.
If you were to come out the champion.
She was there for a cup of
point.
coffee, but you're right. She was there.
So was Rey Mysterio, and he got on the card.
They wisely did not put her on last year's show because they knew the ECW crowd would have eaten her alive because of the Matt Hardy thing.
Exactly.
Brian, we got to let you go, man. Thank you for joining us.
Right.
Call in 2 weeks. We're
All
not
right.
on next
All right.
week. Thanks,
Just a
man.
reminder, we're
Thanks a
on in 2 weeks, May 10th, same time spot, 8 to 10.
Bill Watts and SoCal Val, if you're out there, we're sorry we didn't get to play the interview tonight. We will in 2 weeks. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody out there.
For
Keep
James
checking the website out, www.wrestlingepicenter.com. For Brendan Brooks,
Ben Benya.
Word.
Teal's up next, followed by the Peanut Gallery from 10:45 to midnight.
and I'm
Adios,
James
guys.
Walsh.
This is Big Brother Big Paul, host of the For Lovers Only show. If you enjoy artists such as Parliament,